Welcome to the show, everyone. You know, I talk about everything from soup to nuts on this show, and what I love about it the most is that it's such great, information for everybody out there. Maybe it's you, or maybe it's someone that you know. You tell them about some of the things that you hear on the show. We're live on Facebook, so I do want to say hi to everybody out there. My first guest is coming up to 5 years of being on this show, and she's a wonderful person. We have become friends as well. I have with me Anna Von Straussenburg. She's the owner of Anna Von Straussenburg, CPA. Welcome to the show. We are going to talk a little bit about you, okay? And I want you to tell everybody a little bit about yourself and about you, all about you today.
Okay, well, first of all, I have kind of I call myself a backdoor accountant because I had a degree in liberal studies, which is a great degree to have if you want to be a teacher, which is what I thought I wanted to be when I got out of college, but unfortunately they were laying off teachers and it wasn't a good time, and I thought, well, maybe I'll hold off on getting my teaching credential, and I worked for a private school for about 6 years. And one day I just came home so unhappy, and my husband looked at me and goes, "You should go into business." He goes, "Who else does their family budget on a spreadsheet?" Now, mind you, this is 1990, he's saying this. And so the spreadsheets aren't what we have today with a nice Excel. It was Lotus 123, which is pretty complicated, but I'd taken a computer course and learned how to use it, and so I bought the software and I was using it. And so I decided to take his advice, and he goes, "Well, go into an accounting firm or some kind of business job, or maybe even real estate." So I was lucky. I only had to apply at 3 different places before I found what I wanted. I applied for a commercial real estate company, but I didn't have a real estate license and no experience, so they turned me down. I also interviewed for McDonald's corporate, which is interesting, and that was kind of a maybe. They were interested in me. And then I interviewed at an accounting firm. Well, we hit it off right away. They wanted to hire me because I'd had a little bit of experience in doing some tax returns when I was in college, and so they thought I was a perfect fit. So that's why I started working as a receptionist.
Yes, but let me tell you how much of a great fit it is.
Yeah.
Because you've been there, well, you were there now, how long?
Well, the one I'm at now, that was in Santa Barbara, so I was there for about that particular firm for about 8 years. And I started off as a receptionist, and after I moved up, got my bearings with the company and felt like I could add something more, I moved into the administrative assistant part, where I was actually learning a lot about accounting because we'd have to type financial statements. And later I decided that I was going to go back to college and become a CPA. So while I worked during the day in an accounting firm, there's a lot of built-in overtime. You must work overtime during tax season. And so I was going to school at night and working during the day and having some overtime and studying every minute I could get. And so my whole life consisted of eat, sleep, study, school, and work. I really did nothing else for about 4 years.
And when you started with the firm that you're, own now?
Oh, I started there in 2002.
2002. Tell them what happened.
Well, what happened with my firm in 2002 is I got hired, and it was kind of funny because I had answered an ad in the paper, which whoever does that anymore, but back then they still did. And also a recruiter had sent my resume, and so he goes, "Wow," he goes, "You came highly recommended." So anyway, but he called my old employer and got a reference from her. And he said, "Well, your employer actually wants you back," but he said, it's a little long of a commute from Mesa to Santa Barbara.
Yeah.
So anyway, while I worked there for a few years, and he decided he wanted to retire, And he actually has two sons that are accounting. One is just a corporate accountant, not a CPA. His other son became a CPA. He offered his business to them and they turned it down. His one son knew nothing about taxes, so that's kind of understandable. And the other one decided that he didn't like a desk job, so he actually works a very physical job now, driving a truck for UPS. Loves it, but he still works for me from time to time because he's still a CPA, and he goes, as long as I don't have to do it every day, I can do it sometimes. But so Jack offered the business to me, and I jumped on it, and so I bought him out, so.
And you've been, the owner for now how long?
Going on 6 years.
And when you listen to Anna, one thing that exudes from you is your honesty and your integrity, right? Excellence and integrity in accounting is your tagline.
It is, and actually one of my employees came up with that. We were doing my website, and the website company said, you need a good tagline. And my employee looked at me and she goes, well, you are all about being ethical. And then she said, well, and part of being ethical, you make sure you don't make mistakes because you stand by your work. And so we started looking for synonyms for ethics and you know, having a sharp pencil type of thing.
Yeah,
And so
she does.
she came up with that, excellence and integrity in accounting. I love it. I said, that's so me. I think that's the perfect
And it is.
tagline. So.
And I've known you for over 5 years, longer than whatever when we met, and I have to say that you exude everything about you is that way. And I do want to talk a little bit about how you like complicated returns. This is important for you to hear about her because she stands out in her industry.
Yes, I like complicated returns, specifically multi-state returns are something I'm very good at. I had the good fortune to have some clients that have businesses in about 20 different states and combined with city returns. I remember one year doing 32 different tax returns for them. And so that was really a good learning experience. And so I discovered that every state and every city is different, and you've got to research every darn tax return when you do a new state or city that you've never done before. And so that's something I really enjoy doing. I enjoy working with people that have incentive stock options or things like that, where they get stock from their employer, whether it be incentive stock options or employee purchase plans. There's a lot of different flavors of that, and they have special rules, so that's something I've gotten good at.
And real estate.
Oh yeah, I have a lot of clients that have rental properties and real estate. Some clients have even commercial real estate, and so that's something I'm really interested in, and I feel like because I'm interested in, I'm very good at it.
Well, I'm going to tell you, she's all about excellence and integrity in accounting. Her phone number is 480-964-4030. That's 480-964-4030. She does free consultations. She works nationwide. She's rated with the Better Business Bureau. She does second opinions. You can check her out on her website. It's Arizona CPAs with an S.com. When we come back, we're also going to talk further about tax planning, because if you think that tax season is just in April, you're wrong. It's really all year round.
Yeah.
Again, her phone number again to call, it's 480-964-4030. That's 480-964-4030. It's Arizona CPAs with an S.com. Hang tight, we'll be back in just a minute.
Anyway,
We'll
I've
keep
been-
on going.
I've been really busy, because now we're getting into extension season.
It's extension
And-
season.
Oh, yes. And I got all of a sudden a lot of work in the office, so.
That's
kind
great.
of a fun thing to do, I enjoy it, so.
You like being busy.
I
You
like
like
being
working.
busy, yeah.
And you love numbers.
Yeah, and I like being busy.
And you also like to research.
Yeah, it's funny because it's just the little push I need sometimes to be more productive and get things done. When it's slow, I have a tendency to drag my feet, so the busier times, I used to joke that my favorite day of the year is April 14th because it's about the busiest day of the year, and I just really enjoy that because
You
I
thought
feel like
Christmas was.
I get into my stride,
That's awesome.
Yeah. Although I have a picture of Bill the cat. I think it's a Farsight. No, I don't know what Bill the cat is from. Oh, Bloomfield County, one of those cartoons. Bill the cat's this cat with his fur going on everywhere.
Oh, I thought that, the only one I know that was a cartoon was, with a G, I can't remember.
Garfield.
Garfield.
But Bill the cat was one of the cartoon characters, and I printed a picture of it and put a caption. I said, accountants on April 14th.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah, because he's got his tail all fluffed out and his fur's all fluffed out. And he looks like his eyes are crazy. And
He's been working.
He's been working.
I'm gonna say that your favorite day of the year is.
Yeah. Not only is it one of the busiest, but I feel like I get so much done, and I also know the end is in sight.
Don't see that.
No.
April 14th. That's fun.
Yeah.
I think what's really
Maybe I should say
interesting.
we're almost through with the first wave, because that's the first wave.
Yeah, well, it is the first
Yeah,
wave because it still
yeah.
keeps on going.
Yeah.
I think also for you, when you speak to your clients, they become, I don't wanna say the word complicated, but they become intricate
Mhm.
because you get to know them
Oh,
so
yeah.
well. Okay, here we go, you ready for
Yep,
me?
yep.
So welcome back, everyone. We're talking with Anna Von Straussenburg. She's the owner of Anna Von Straussenburg, CPA. And we were talking at the break, we always talk to Facebook land out there, about her favorite day of the year, which is the busiest day of the year. And what day is it?
April 14th.
April 4th. You thought it was going to be sometime in Christmas.
Yeah, I love it at work because it's so busy, but I feel like I get so much done. And I know that we're coming to, I'll say more of a pause in the thing, but we file all our extensions, we get them all done by April 14th, and we just try to get things wrapped up. We try, but then the 15th, of course, we're still working up to the last minute, but we try to get things done, so I know the first wave is gone by and it's over, and
And
I
this
can
is
take a breath.
right.
And then, of course, a few days later, we start it all up again because we always have people on extensions.
Well, you said it's extension season right now.
It is, and the people on extensions, they're coming up due. Business, which means S corporations and partnerships are due September 15th. And then trust returns are due September 30th, and individuals are due October 15th. So they're coming boom, 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 right in a row. And so if you're a business that's an S corporation or a partnership, you better get your stuff into your CPA now, because there's only 2 weeks left, not even 2 weeks. So,
And why should somebody use a CPA?
well, a case in point is this new one big beautiful bill. There are so many law changes that, the average person doesn't even know how to handle those. And sad to say, not even the average software is good at handling that because it is more complicated and not all, somebody asked me, am I afraid that AI is going to take my job? And I said, absolutely not. And I said, the reason why is because we always have to double check the software. Because sometimes the software makes mistakes, and sometimes it's just how you've inputted it. And I know I've helped people who've done their own tax on TurboTax, and a lot of people, almost everybody I've ever worked with, actually everybody, I can say everybody I've ever worked with on doing their own tax returns, I've always found errors. And most of the time, 99% of the time, I've saved them money, so.
She's amazing.
Yeah, so, yeah, I say don't do it yourself because you don't know what you don't know, to steal a line from Carol, is there's so many things you don't know. And I had somebody actually open up their TurboTax in my office, and together we were trying to find where some certain deduction went, and we could not find it in TurboTax. And they finally looked at me and said, well, wouldn't it just be better if you redo the tax return? And that's what I agreed to do, because they thought that they were missing some deductions, and they couldn't even verify that the deductions were put in correctly.
Well, we've talked about this before. Do not do your own tax return, and don't think that you could just put through AI and it's gonna be okay and now it's fine. No, make sure that it's done correct. You also do second opinions
Yeah.
all of the time as well.
Yeah, and it's especially important, even if you have a small business that you report like a sole proprietor, you really have to have help doing that, because there's so many little intricacies. A lot of people forget. Business use of home, they can have a home office and get a deduction for it, but you have to do it right. And there's other things that come up with tax returns that are special handling required, like how do you handle business use of an automobile? There are a lot of little nuances that I don't think the average do-it-yourself software grasps that as easily. I mean, yeah, if you just have just a W-2 and you don't have nothing else besides a W-2, I say, yeah, use your free program, do it on your own. But you get any more complicated than that, if you have stocks and bonds, you have, a small business on the side, you really need to get help.
Yeah, the phone number to call her is 480-964-4030. That's 480-964-4030. Check her out on her website. It's Arizona CPAs with an S.com. And I had mentioned during the break how, anybody that works with you, if it's not complicated, it becomes intricate. And the reason why I said this is because she treats you like you are family. She gets to know you. It is so different than having some kind of a robot do
Yeah.
something for you. It's quite different, and that's what makes you so terrific.
Yeah, I like to adopt my clients. I really, I had a client that's going through a rough patch right now, and he came in to pick up his tax returns, and I told him, I said, look, I'm your cheerleader in your corner, you're gonna get through this, and it's all gonna be okay on the end. And he goes, thank you, I appreciate that, He actually opened up and told me a lot of his personal stuff that he couldn't tell anybody else. And, so sometimes I
You
put
get
on
to
my,
know them so much
I put
better.
on my psychologist hat, and just say, hey, everybody has their problems, and I'm here to listen. And as part of listening, I discovered that, well, look, I can help him some more. He needs to file, for an installment agreement or an offer in compromise because he's hit a rough patch financially, and I can help him with that. You don't have to go to the people that advertise on TV.
Oh, please don't. That's what we were just gonna end with people with tax problems.
Yeah.
And you can don't do that yourself either, because you're too emotionally involved. So
Yeah.
talk about how you call the IRS.
Well, I call the IRS for clients, and the nice thing is I'm like a step away, so I don't get angry when they tell me something. I try to be calm, and actually what I do is I pretend like they're my long lost friend, and I talk to them, and I'm friendly with them, and I say, hey, what can we do to help my client? And, most of the time I get them over on my side. I've been lucky a couple times where I've gotten somebody a little surly on the other end, and by some miracle, the phone gets disconnected. Not that I've done it, just sometimes maybe they disconnected me, or just some glitch happened with the phones, and I thought, oh, I think this was a good thing that happened, and called back and got somebody who was really understanding and who really helped me. So I think sometimes there's powers that be that we don't even see.
Right. But I think the other thing is that everybody that does try and do these things on their own, first of all, it does become very complicated if you haven't done your tax returns in a very long time. And having somebody there that's on your side as well that can call them and help you through that too, because there are answers to those problems.
That's true. There are answers to the problems, and knowing the law is very helpful, and knowing what to expect. When clients start getting notices, the instant they get a notice, they panic, and I say, look, don't panic, it's only the first notice, you have several more to come. We'll just call them and we'll ask for an extension to get an answer to them, or I can call them and say, hey, listen, it looks like something wasn't credited to their account, like a payment or whatever. And so I just say, hey, calm down, we can handle it, no big deal, they're not gonna come put you in jail in the next 2 weeks. So.
Well, the biggest thing is that a lot of people out there, they put their heads in the sand with it and they go almost years without paying. And that's not a good thing to do.
Yeah, and well, it's a bad thing if you haven't filed your tax return, because sometimes what sadly I've seen is some people who didn't file and they actually had a refund coming. But if it's more than 3 years after the return was due, so sad, too bad, you've lost that refund. So it's really important to get in and get your stuff in with a CPA, because you may have just waved goodbye to some money.
Right.
So, don't wait too long.
And give her a call. Her phone number is 480-964-4030. That's 480-964-4030. She does do free consultations. She works nationwide. She also does second opinions and rated with the Better Business Bureau. And what I love about her is she's all about excellence and integrity in accounting. What are your final words?
I think that, also right now is a good time for planning. If you want to do, some of the retirement plans require that you set them up by September 30th. So that's coming around the corner too. So don't wait.
Don't hesitate and call her at 480-964-4030. That's 480-964-4030. Right now, it is extension season, and if you haven't taken care of them or you're thinking of doing it on your own, please do not do that. Make sure that they're done correctly and have her take you, and she takes you and she makes you her family. Again, that phone number is 480-964-4030. That's 480-964-4030. It's ArizonaCPAs with an S.com.